Good evening. This side Rahul Magan here as a Group Chief Executive Officer, Treasury Consulting, and also a venture capitalist. As we speak, Treasury Consulting is a multinational headquartered group based out Singapore. And we are a multinational hedge fund. Now, by multinational hedge fund means we take positions in various asset classes, technically FICC, fixed income currencies and commodities. But we are a proprietary hedge fund. Now, by proprietary, I means there is no third party investment in our fund, and it cannot be. Now, this is the simplest introduction of Treasury Consulting Group. As we speak, we are 100% cash rich. So unlike Ola, Uber, Swiggy, Zomato, Paytm, Lenskart, Delivery, Byju's, we never claim to be a unicorn, but we are a multi-million valuation company, 100% profitable. Before I commence, I have two good news. Number one, our Takatak channel, which is Takatak is a short app, our Takatak channel now holding over 2000 videos. Today, we uploaded 5 videos on Takatak channel and the count is now 2000 videos. On the other side, ShareChat, which is also a social networking platform. Here we crossed near about 2050 images covering financial market and near about 580 videos. So on Takatak, we crossed near about 2000 videos, while on ShareChat, we crossed near about 2050 images alongside near about 580 videos. More on the cards. Today, I would like to cover my outlook of what would be the top 3 sectors in another 2 to 3 years. But like I said, this is an outlook. Do not take this as a trading positions because that we never reveal. Russia-Ukraine war is now at a very important stage, like as we speak, near about 53rd day. Thousands of soldiers died on the either side. Internet is flooded with the articles that claims how many soldiers died on the Ukraine side, how many died on the Russian side. So I will not give any number since I am not in a position to authenticate these numbers. So no numbers. But yes, common sense prevails, which is the damage is on the either side. That is quite visible. And according to the International Monetary Fund, Ukraine set to lose near about 45% of the GDP. I repeat, 45% of the GDP in this 2022, while Russia to lose near about 12% of the GDP. I doubt how come the mathematics is skewed towards Ukraine. I'll tweet later. Before this war, the oil was near about 75. There were heavy predictions that oil would continue to be 80 to 85. Immediately, the Russia-Ukraine war started. The West came into the picture. They sanctioned Putin financially, just like banning on the SWIFT architecture and multiple stuff. Unfortunately, these sanctions were useless, and this is what I warned people many times, because Putin was also aware and mentally prepared that the day he is going to start the war with the Ukraine, the sanctions would surely be coming. So putting sanctions on Putin is a waste of time, and exactly that happened. But oil was 75, and now as the war is going on, oil is near about 110. The high oil touched is near about 130. While Bank of America said that oil might be touching 150, many great American banks even predicted 200. This raises a serious concern as far as the energy and oil sector is concerned. Today, Russian TV said publicly that the World War III has begun. And I think they are not wrong. The World War III has begun. The reason being, many countries are supporting Ukraine, and many countries are supporting China also. Example, Russia also. Example, China. Keeping this in mind, if this war would linger for another 2 to 3 months, then the world would be divided into two fraternities. Number one, who would be supporting Ukraine? Number two, who would be supporting Russia? I'm sure that China would be in the second league, because Chinese-Russian relationship are always very good. Keeping this in mind, there is a big probability that Russia might be using either chemical weapons or nuclear weapons. Today, Ukraine president also warned the globe that Russia might be using the nuclear weapon. If this happens, either case, that if this war persists for another two months from here, or if Russia is going to be using either a chemical or a nuclear weapon, then this would have a devastating impact on the global economy. I'm not saying Ukraine economy, global economy. Because in the case of the chemical weapon, no country would be untouched. No country. It's just like Corona started in 2019 in China. By 2020, it came to Asia. 2021, the whole world. And now there is hardly any country who do not have Corona, who do not have new variants. So in case Russia is going to be using either the chemical weapons or the nuclear weapons, then the world might be facing a big devastation. Oil and energy sector would face collapse and boom. You would be surprised at why I am using both words, collapse and boom. That's very, I would say, very, very confusing thing. Guys, oil companies are of two types. Number one, the producers, just like ExxonMobil, just like Aramco, many more. And second, those who are importing. So I'm not naming any company. Like I'm Aramco. Oil producer do not want to sign the long-term contracts. They always reluctant signing the long-term contracts. While the oil buyer, the importer, loves to sign the long-term contract because he would like to mitigate the impact of the volatility in the oil sector. In the eventuality of a chemical weapon or the nuclear weapon, the oil producers would be hiking the rate immediately. And specifically talking OPEC, Organization of Petroleum and Exporting Countries. Supply will definitely reduce in case of nuclear weapon. Decrease supply, increase demand, the price may even touch 200. Let it be, even more than 200. The companies, those who are importing the oil, I repeat, the companies, those who are importing the oil, would face severe devastation because the price at which they were forced to import would change. Example, if the contract is subject to renewable, the renew will happen at a higher price. And they cannot pass the whole price to the consumer because the price is already very high, including the government duties. You know what I mean? But the oil producers would have a substantial benefit. Of course, in theory, India imports 75% of the oil, but still, other side, 25% is produced. So the producers would face a boom. Like today they are selling 110, they would start selling 170, 180, probably more than that. I see a substantial hike in the oil and gas sector. I'm not naming any company. I'm not naming any company. And when I use oil and gas sector, remember very carefully, I do not mean all companies. I repeat, I do not mean all companies. Please do take a note of that. Second is the metal sector. Metal sector, common sense, would go top because of two reasons. Number one, Russia-Ukraine war. Number two is the ecological disorder. Now, what the hell is ecological disorder? As we speak, the glaciers are melting worldwide. You please open the Google, see yourself that the glaciers are melting. Almost every second day, a different research article is coming on the Google, but unfortunately, we are busy in movies, dramas, OTT platforms, and all rather than reading these articles. But I do. These articles given by or wrought by the scientist or the scientific teams who works at the ground, like somebody working at Antarctica knew much more than I knew, because whatever I knew is from the Google. Whatever he knew, he is at the spot. That's something very interesting. In case of a war and ecological disorder, both, an ecological disorder is happening. Like according to a latest article on the Google, in the western Antarctica side, there is a place where it was said that the ice cannot melt because it is freezed at a temperature whereby the sun cannot melt this ice. But the whole glacier melted in front of the scientist. And the complete scientific community is on the toes. Oh my God. We did believed that nothing of that sort happened, but it already happened. And this is very scary, but that's a separate thing that we are a busy people. So we do not know this about. I am bullish on metal sector, but having said that, when it comes to India, there are many metal companies, those who are overvalued, and their balance sheet do not support that valuation. Once again, not naming any company. And I always raised a concern that if the company balance sheet is not strong, if it is a debt ridden, then there is no point entering in that company. I'm very clear. But still, as we speak, there are many companies in the metal sector, those who are not far from the intrinsic value. Rather, few are closer to intrinsic value. Let it be honest. Third is the renewable sector. By renewable sector, I do not mean the electric vehicle, because the electric vehicle market in India is already fudged up. We have seen that how electric vehicles are catching the fire, and various state governments are coming up with the revised norms. So the electric vehicle sector is fudged up. That is very clear, and I'm saying openly. There are many good renewable companies which we have, and fortunately, all these companies are pertains to government organizations. They are quite capable. and I believe that they can take the situation in a good way for a long term. To conclude the whole situation, I am bullish on three sectors. Number one, the oil and gas sector. Number two, the metal sector. And number three is the renewable sector. But once again, let me repeat that I am not naming any company. And at the same point of time, I am a strong believer of the fact that not all companies in a relevant sector, be it any sector, deserves investment. This is Rahul Magan from Treasury Consulting Group. You knew my personal number, +91 9899242978. +91 9899242978. More videos on the cards. Have a great time ahead.